Appreciate y'all for pulling up. I'm your host, Gabos, and we back with another one, man. We got the Dallas Cowboys are in big trouble. And you know when microphone get the uploading, we here with it, man. So let's get right into it. Hit the like and subscribe button, man.
We use to view and evaluate Coach McCarthy is holistic.
He says he still believes that McCarthy can get the job done in spite of Sunday's stunning loss to the Green Bay Packers.
Throughout the offseason, we've made plenty of content on how the Dallas Cowboys are collectively screwed. And typically when we discuss why they're collectively screwed, it has a lot to do with the fact that they still haven't paid CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, or Dak Prescott, and they're just letting the market inflate more and more. But now we have a completely new angle on this entire situation, as their head coach is getting annoyed with Jerry Jones. So we have a lot to discuss, man. Before we get to the content, we're giving away multiple copies of college football. Mike discussed this multiple times throughout the offseason, primarily because they have 3 players at the top of their positions that are due for contract extensions. And for some reason, the Cowboys like to do this.
Shit is crazy. We're at a point in time where it's probably going to cost the Cowboys $500 million. And I'm not even exaggerating, for 3 players. Dak, Lamb, and Micah might cost the Cowboys $500 million, just those 3. Shit is insane.
Thing where they're the last person to pay their players. I mean, I don't know why they think this is a good idea. The salary cap is just blowing up more and more. Owners are discussing the fact that maybe quarterbacks should have a separate salary cap. But in this particular instance, the Cowboys could have extended Dak Prescott a year ago if they really wanted to. And it seemed like they didn't really have much of a choice but to extend Dak Prescott, considering the fact that his contract is backloaded and it'll collectively screw over the Cowboys whether he stays on the team or decides to move on. In our last video, we highlighted that the only crazy thing that the Cowboys might be trying to aim for is drafting Shedeur Sanders. But the thing
we heard about that.
I understand Dak Prescott is very easy to dislike because he's the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But if you take a look at him statistically, he is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, the man completed nearly 70% of his passes last year, threw for over 4,500 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions.
Yeah, all that Dak slander about him being trash is fugazi. Now, is he a regular season quarterback? Absolutely. And playoffs is a different breed, but we're not talking about playoffs. We're talking about this man overall as a quarterback. Dak is the most hated quarterback in the National Football League, bro. And the man don't even have chips. Back in the day, we used to hate the champs. He has no rings, but yet everybody hates that. Everybody that's not a Dallas Cowboy fan hates this dude, yo.
He was runner-up for NFL MVP last year. So chances are he's going to be commanding
till he lost to Buffalo
contract extension very, very soon. And unfortunately, the Cowboys decided to wait as long as they possibly could, to the point where they let Trevor Lawrence's contract beat out Dak Prescott's. They let Jared Goff's contract beat out Dak Prescott's. Dak isn't going to accept the same amount of money as Jared Goff at this point. No, he has a very legitimate claim to completely resetting the quarterback market. CeeDee Lamb has a very legitimate claim to reset the wide receiver market. And Micah Parsons is just going to want to get paid $35 million a year annually.
I'm not paying CeeDee Lamb more than Justin Jefferson. I don't care what stats you put up. My eyes doesn't lie to me. You're not that guy, buddy. You're nice, but you're not the best in the league.
And through it all, there's just been one common denominator for the Dallas Cowboys and their boneheaded decision-making. It's none other than Jerry Jones, the same person that decided to make Ezekiel Elliott the second highest paid running back in NFL history. And this isn't anything new for Dallas Cowboy fans. I mean, we've been fed up with Jerry Jones's Jerryisms all throughout the entire lifespan of our fandom. I mean, just this past year, he claimed that the Cowboys are all in.
How do we feel about where we've been in this free agency? We feel great about what we've been in free agency. All in. All in. All in. We're all in with these young guys coming on. And we're all in with this draft.
But their version of all in was sitting back while the Washington Commanders poached some of their players. The Philadelphia Eagles made intelligent decisions in extending A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, while also signing the most desired running back in the entire free agency pool.
Bro, I don't care what anybody says. I'm not a Philly lover, but you got to give the Eagles, y'all got to give them some love for what they're pulling off. With the addition of Saquon Barkley, you move on from Swift to upgrade at running back. You re-sign both your wide receivers, and your quarterback is already taken care of. Like, that's how you do it. Why isn't Dak, CD, or Micah signed yet? Why we keep watching? Like, why are they choosing the route of allowing the market to rise before they make a move on obvious key players.
Cowboys just sat pat, watched all their players disappear, and signed Eric Kendricks. And don't get me wrong, I think Tyler Guyton may be a great pick. But apart from that, the Cowboys did little to anything to improve their roster. For the most part, we're seeing the same team.
Who is this guy?
Next year, only Dan Quinn is no longer our defensive coordinator. He is the head coach of the Washington Commanders. And there's still a question of who Stephon Gilmore is going to sign with. With that being said, we have a brand new entry into the Dallas Cowboys drama. And it's something that sounds very familiar to us. From the moment Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys, he made a very bold decision, firing longtime legendary coach Tom Landry in favor for his buddy Jimmy Johnson. Luckily for Jerry Jones, this one decision completely altered his legacy. Jimmy Johnson coached the Dallas Cowboys into one of the biggest powerhouses of the 1990s. And then Jerry Jones had to run his mouth and say that anyone could have coached this team to a Super Bowl. And I guess he kind of proved his point, because eventually Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones would split up because Jerry Jones would micromanage Jimmy Johnson, and Jerry Jones thought that anyone could coach the Cowboys to a Super Bowl. So this is when Jones decided to bring in his very first yes man, Barry Switzer. And don't get me wrong, Barry Switzer was able to win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys, but they would famously not even reach the NFC Championship game following their Super Bowl 30 victory. And you began to see a bit of a trend, and I like to call this the curse of Jimmy Johnson. Jerry Jones would always flip-flop between bringing in a yes man, like, I don't know, Dave Campo from 2000 to 2002.
Jason Garrett.
In a blue chip head coach like Bill Parcells in 2003. But the blue chip head coach
Jason Garrett
want to work with Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones was so controlling. After Bill Parcells, we'd get Wade Phillips, and Wade Phillips was solid until that one season he started out 1-6, and then we got our ultimate yes man, Jason Garrett. When Jason Garrett was fired, then Jerry Jones decided to bring in a hybrid of the yes man. Mike McCarthy didn't really have the greatest reputation when he took the Cowboys job, primarily because of the hit piece that was created on him from Bleacher Report claiming that he got massages in the middle of practices. But I have to admit, Mike McCarthy plus Dak Prescott made for some incredible football. I mean, Dak Prescott was already a prolific quarterback, but in year one with Mike McCarthy, he threw 37 touchdowns and 10 interceptions and over 4,400 passing yards. In year two, he was injured and he did have the most interceptions in the NFL and threw for 23 touchdowns. But this past year, he had his best season to date, finishing as runner-up in MVP voting. You can say what you want about Mike McCarthy. Of course, the way the Cowboys went out was so disappointing and so sad, and whenever you hear this excuse that they were just gassed and tired,
we was burned out, man. You know, long season, throughout the season, you know, the legs get tired.
It obviously would piss off any fan, but now there's a brand new element to everything, and it's been consistent with everything we've heard about Jerry
long
Jones
season. What are you talking about, long season? That's something you could possibly say if you make it to the damn Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Where it's just like a good 6 weeks after the regular season has ended. You could say it's a long season, legs are tired. Bro, what is this, the first round? The first round of the playoffs? You talking about your legs were tired? Come on, man.
Tyler Dunn, it seems like Mike McCarthy's and Jerry Jones's relationship is as shaky as we all might think. Now, this is very surprising because there are rumors that the Cowboys were looking at Bill Belichick as a head coach so they can upgrade from Mike McCarthy. But the thing is, Jerry Jones doesn't like paying coaches to not coach for him. So he wasn't willing to move on from Mike McCarthy just so they could bring on Bill Belichick. But Tyler Dunn mentions that multiple people high up in the Cowboys organization indicate that current players are more concerned about Jerry Jones than McCarthy, the head coach. They know Jones can undermine McCarthy at any moment. So that means you can get a talented team like they've had, but they're going to underachieve when the coaches can't influence the players the way they need to. Another personnel man says that he's doing it the best he can. Some of the people I've talked to have said that he's getting fed up with it a little bit. And finally, one executive mentions that you've hired him for a reason. You believed in what their philosophy was. Let him execute the philosophy. If it doesn't work, then you move on from him. But when you're meddling and you're not telling the personnel people who to draft and who to sign, but you're also influencing what plays are called and things like that, it's just going to hurt what's going on. 2024 is a huge year for the Cowboys. Cowboys. I've said it multiple times on this channel, I'm not going to be surprised if the Cowboys don't even make it to the wild card this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if they point the blame finger at Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy. And I wouldn't be surprised if they moved on from Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy. But the thing that's frustrating about all of this is there's not really a good contingency plan in place. If you let Dak Prescott hit free agency, you backloaded his contract so much, you're still going to incur a significant dead cap hit once he's gone. Which means even if you did get the #1 overall pick and you want to take Shedeur Sanders, you're putting Shedeur Sanders at a very bad position because he's going to have a significantly weaker team around him because you're so cap strapped from backloading Dak's contract. So the only choice you really had up until this point is extending Dak, and I don't think it's a bad choice at all, but you keep waiting too long and these millions are adding up. I mean, if you extended him in March, you could have possibly matched Justin Herbert's contract and paid him $52 million a year annually. And yeah, it does sting for a little bit, but at least you're not going to have to pony up $60 million a year annually. And the same could have been said about CeeDee Lamb. If you paid him in March, you could have probably got away with paying him like $31 million a year annually. But now Justin Jefferson got paid $35 million a year annually, so maybe the Cowboys have to match that or pay CD $34 a year annually. It's just a lot of the decisions that are being made here don't make a lot of sense. And Jerry Jones's ex-head coaches have a history of being undermined, so this is all believable. But hey, at least we got Ezekiel Elliott back, and guess what? If you want to support Ezekiel Elliott, he's wearing number 15 now, so throw away those number 21 jerseys. I'm sure this is not a ploy to boost up jersey sales. It's just very frustrating to be a Dallas Cowboy fan, and the only real light at the end of the tunnel I could see here is something that's unprecedented, and that's trading Dak Prescott, but you have to get him to agree to a no trade clause, which means that he gets to pick his next team, and you're probably going to get late round picks in return for Dak. So it's just a mess at this point.
Yeah, they ain't doing that shit.
Below if you're a Cowboy fan,
if they settle for that, thank God I'm not a Cowboy fan. I ain't gonna hold you. All indications would point that the Cowboys re-sign Dak. It's the smartest decision to do. Even if you want to, like Microphone says, you tank and essentially get the first round pick. If that's the worst case scenario, right? I don't see the Cowboys doing that. Even if you get a brand new quarterback, it's like, what pieces are you going to have around him? We don't know if CeeDee Lamb is still going to be there. I think that they franchise tag CeeDee Lamb. I call it what it is. They're going to franchise tag CeeDee Lamb and sign Dak and sign Micah. But yeah, okay. Jeez, man, I cannot have Jerry Jones running any organization I'm a part of, bro. Like, this dude is just, if you want to be the coach that bad, just coach. Why be an owner? I'm gonna holler at you guys next video.